Good evening. Can I have your attention, please? My name is Sandy Golding, and I'm the president of Beaches Watch. I'd like to ask you all to turn your phones off or put them on vibrate. And I want to thank you all for attending tonight's forum. And I also want to thank the candidates for being here and participating in tonight's forum. In case you don't know about our organization, Beaches Watch is a nonpartisan, nonprofit civic organization here at the beach, and we were founded in 2004. Our mission is to educate and engage citizens in the decisions that are being made that affect our local beaches communities of Atlantic Beach, Jacksonville Beach, and Neptune Beach. Beaches Watch does not endorse candidates, but we do have these candidate forums, and we've been holding them since 2004. And we do this to help you learn more about the candidates and so you can make an informed decision when you vote. Before you leave, we hope you'll go by the Beaches Watch table and pick up some information about our organization. And if you'd like to receive emails about beaches issues, we hope you'll sign up for our e-newsletter. And we hope you'll consider joining Beaches Watch as well to support our efforts. Now, I hope that everyone got a program when you came in tonight, because it has information on there that we think will be helpful for you. First and foremost, as an added service to the voters, we have included some additional information on our website. We have the candidates' websites, and then we also have a written Q&A that the candidates responded to, and we've posted that on our website as well. We will also be posting tonight's forum, a video on our website, and so we hope you'll go and check that out, or tell people who are not able to be here tonight so that they can learn more about the candidates. Tonight's format, we're going to have the sheriff candidates first, and we have 30 minutes for the sheriff candidates and then 30 minutes for the mayor candidates. All the candidates are going to have 2 minutes for opening statements, 2 minutes to respond to questions, and 2 minutes for closing statements. If you would like to propose a question for the candidates, there is an audience question card that's at the Beaches Watch table that you can complete, and then you just need to give it to one of our Beaches Watch volunteers. Of course, you have to understand due to limited time, we may not be able to ask your questions, but we do encourage you to submit one if you would like. When the mayor candidates are through, all the candidates will be out in the lobby at their table, and we encourage you to go out there and talk to them one-on-one, pick up their literature, and ask them any questions that you might have. So tonight we're going to begin with the sheriff candidates, and the candidates are Ken Jefferson and Mike Williams. The order the candidates will be answering the questions tonight was determined prior to the start of the forum, and will allow them to alternate who's going first. So we're going to start with Mr. Williams, and he is going to start with his opening statement, and you'll have 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having us out tonight. My name is Mike Williams. I'm a candidate for sheriff, and I was born and raised in Jacksonville. My wife and I are raising our family on the north side of Jacksonville, again where I was raised. And after high school, I joined the Air National Guard to earn money for college and graduated with business from Liberty University. I began my career with JSO in 1991. And I had an opportunity to watch my father's career. He retired from JSO in the mid-90s, so I knew it was something I was going to do at some point in my life. And I got the opportunity to do it in 91 and jumped at the chance. And when I began my career in 91 at JSO, I started like everybody does as a line level patrol officer. And in the course of 23 years, I served at every supervisory rank in the agency, worked my way up again from the line level to the number 3 position in the department. When I retired from JSO last August to focus full-time on the campaign, I was number 3 in the department. I had command day-to-day of 1,100 police officers and oversight of half the agency's $400 million budget. So a very challenging position, but again, one that I really enjoyed. I can tell you that I believe firmly we've had a terrific sheriff in Jacksonville for the last 12 years. John Rutherford has done a tremendous job for this community, and I'm honored to have the support of this campaign. But our campaign is not about what Sheriff Rutherford has done. Our campaign is about the next things to do, and we have some priorities moving forward, but we have to be successful as an agency. We have a violence problem in Jacksonville that's driven by the drug trade. It's been a challenge for us for many years, and we have to get ahead of it. And we will work on that every day. We've got to continue to build and strengthen relationships in every part of our community every day. There's not a law enforcement agency in our country that can be successful without having the support of this community. And then lastly, we've got to continue to be lean and efficient at JSO. We've got to continue to show you, the taxpayer, that we are good stewards of your money. We will do that with new steps towards transparency in the agency, again, to show you every day what $400 million buys you in terms of police service for our community. So, again, my name is Mike Williams, and I'm looking forward to your questions. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Ken Jefferson, also a candidate for sheriff, and it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having us here tonight. I'm also a lifelong resident here of Jacksonville, Florida, born and raised right here. Attended the public schools, graduated from Fletcher High School in 1975. I also am a graduate of St. Thomas Christian University, where I hold a master's degree in theology, as well as an honorary doctorate degree from the same institution. I'm a graduate of life work leadership, as well as leadership at Jacksonville. I want to thank you for giving me the honor and the privilege of serving you as a police officer for 24 years with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. During the course of my career with the Sheriff's Office, I've served in numerous leadership positions. Started out driving a beat, answering calls for services like we all did. From there, I was assigned as an academy staff instructor, responsible for training all new recruits both on the corrections side as well as the police side. From that assignment, I was assigned to become an administrative detective responsible for writing all the policies, rules, and procedures of the Sheriff's Office working in the accreditation division. From there, I was assigned as a burglary detective responsible for investigating crimes against property. From there, I was assigned as a sex crimes detective responsible for investigating crimes against persons. From that assignment, I became the police recruiter responsible for going all over the state as well as outside of the state to recruit the best and the brightest for the most premier law enforcement agency this side of heaven, which was the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office at that particular time. It was not a hard feat to do because the agency was easy to sell. From that position, I became a federal program manager responsible for the drug education for youth program under my leadership. That program became the #1 site in the nation. It became a national model. From there, I was the spokesperson for the department, the face and the voice of the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. I'm running out of time, so I'm going to end with this. I'm running for sheriff because it's time for us to have a sheriff that's proactive, that's from the community, that's about the community, that's going to do everything right for the community in a proactive way. I have a plan that I published 8 months ago that's on the books to address all of the violent crime. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions. My name is Ken Jefferson.
You can just stay right here because you're going to go first on the first question. This first question is, what, if anything, would you do to improve the communication and relationship between the Sheriff's Department and the Beaches Police Departments? And you have 2 minutes.
Thank you for that question. I would open the lines of communications even farther than they are now. I understand that the Beaches Police Department as well as the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office has a rich relationship, a good relationship. They follow the mutual aid agreement to the T, to the letter, but I would like to expand it even a little bit more and just not depend on us for special events when you have the 4th of July and your other special events that draw out a whole lot of people here at the beach. Let's establish an ongoing relationship so anytime that you need us, we'll be there. We've had some incidents here when you had extremely large crowds of people. I think there was gunfire that erupted one time, and fighting and a lot of disorder. Let's not wait for that to happen. Let's establish a relationship, open the lines of communication so we can be there well before that happens in a proactive stage.
Well, I can tell you from personal experience that the lines of communication are open between the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office and the Beaches law enforcement agencies. I personally know Pat Dooley and Chief Simbach. I have not met the new chief of Atlanta Beaches as of yet. I'm looking forward to doing that. And I can tell you that we work together frequently, and we'll continue to work together frequently. I think it's important for us to recognize in Jacksonville that obviously the beaches are part of what we do every day. The beaches are part of our community, and where we can support, we do, and we'll continue to do that. You know, we have big events down here at the beach. A lot of the residents, a lot of the occupants or participants in the event come from Jacksonville, and we do come and support those events. But again, day-to-day operations, where we can help, I'm open to sit down and talk about ways to expand that. I know for the beaches in particular, it's a significant a significant burden during some of those events when they have to have officers leave the beach to transport prisoners to the jail. So that's one example, something I believe we can work on moving forward. And again, I'm looking forward to continuing what is a really great working relationship, not only in a communication standpoint, but operationally with the beaches on many, many different levels.
We want to do a quick follow-up. Sorry, we want to do a quick follow-up. For both of you, a 30-second follow-up to this question. Would you commit to meeting on a regular basis with the beach's chiefs of police? And if so, how often?
Yeah, absolutely. We commit to meeting on a quarterly basis, a monthly basis. But again, I think beyond establishing a meeting, which we would be more than willing to do, I think the day-to-day, having that ability to reach out day-to-day whenever we need to is very important. I think having the cell numbers and contact numbers of the beach's law enforcement agencies are extremely important to us. And again, we can help each other. This is not just Jacksonville helping the beaches. This is the beaches helping Jacksonville as well. And again, that ongoing back and forth dialogue and communication is important. And we commit to whatever everybody agreed to, absolutely.
Mr. Jefferson?
Yes, that's an easy answer. Absolutely yes. Because I understand and recognize that we can do better together. By working together on a more regular basis, we can get a lot more accomplished. Whether it be monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly, it really doesn't matter. I have to agree that whatever is the agreed upon frequency, we're willing to do that as the sheriff of Jacksonville.
Okay, so the next question. Since Mr. Jefferson, let's see, I think.
Yeah, that's what I think is
Okay. Okay.
good question.
Since the sheriff's budget is the largest departmental item in the Jacksonville budget, in excess of $400 million, what would you do to increase the efficiency and make more resources available for policing? And how would your changes affect the beaches?
I'll tell you, I think any time that you take over a large organization, you owe it to yourself and you owe it to the community. Take a look at the organization and where you can become more lean and where you can become more efficient, you do that. And where you can create resources and drive people back to the street, you do that as well. And we're going to do that on day one. I can tell you that having come through, been a part of the budget process for the Sheriff's Office for the last several years, and having come through some of the toughest budget times in the history of our city and the history of our organization, we've done a very good job of being very lean and efficient at JSO over the past several years. And we have to continue upon that and continue to look for ways to be lean and efficient and good stewards of the taxpayer dollars. I can tell you there's not a lot that we would do that would really impact the relationship between us and the beaches. I think we commit to something, we commit to supporting the beaches through, again, special events, through special operations. When we commit to that, we'll honor that commitment. And I think that's part of the process as you go to trim and to be more efficient and to link things out. I think you look at the commitments that you've made to other parties, be it federal law enforcement agencies, be it state partners, be it other communities within the county. And I think that's a factor when you go to weigh in where you're going to cut and where you're going to try to drive some efficiencies within the agency. So we will do that day one. We will drive those lean efficiencies. Again, I think having a good understanding of the budget, having gone through again for several years, our current budget at the line item level, having built budgets at JSO from the unit level with zero-based budgeting from the unit level, the division level, the department level, I've got a great understanding of the budget and how it works. And I think that helps us moving forward so that we hit the ground running day one and then we don't make a misstep and we don't make a mistake that potentially could impact an agreement we made with the beaches or somebody else. So I think that experience is important, and I think, again, we owe it to the taxpayers to add that layer of transparency to the budget process for Duval County.
Thank you. Let's look at that $400 million budget that everybody talks about. Of the $400 million, 85% is for personnel. So the sheriff's office is really not managing a $400 million budget. That's for personnel, salaries, and benefits. So we've got the other 15% that we're responsible for managing. And then when we look at the budget and we look at how we're going to allocate resources and how we're going to plan for various things, let's take it on a simple level, such as we do with our household budget. You prioritize your expenditures, you fight for whatever you can get, and you manage your budget from that standpoint. As your sheriff, I will prioritize all of my expenditures. I will lean on the CFO that we will have in place just for guidance. And then we will go to the city council and the mayor to get as much as we can for resources. That's really what we're managing, is the resources and the services in the buildings. Whatever hand is dealt to me from the mayor and the city council is how I will handle my department. I won't make excuses for lack of what I've asked for. My job as your sheriff is to fight crime, to make the streets safer. So whatever hand that I'm dealt, that's what I'll utilize. And if that's not enough, then we'll go back for more. We'll keep going back for more. If I get more, if I get less, how will it impact the beaches? Well, we can utilize more resources here with the beaches. But we got to utilize what we have first. Play the hand that you're dealt with. The budget is not a complicated issue when you realize that it's not in your control.
Okay, you get this next question first, Mr. Jefferson. Yeah. During certain times of the year, when the number of visitors to the beaches increases, the crime problems also increase, putting a strain on the beaches police departments. Crime statistics have indicated that a large percentage of the crimes are committed by visitors to the beaches. Since the sheriff controls the line items in his budget, what, if anything, would you do to help with this problem?
Thank you. I'm one of those persons that come to the beaches, but I don't commit crimes. All right. I'm part of that population that comes out here during that time. Recognizing that is an issue with the beaches. Listen, because you're all on the other side of the ditch, doesn't mean that you're forgotten about the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. We will always be there for you. If I'm the sheriff, and I'm sure Mike would agree with the same thing. With the sheriff, you'll always be there. You'll always have us at your fingertips to assist you, to provide resources, to help you deploy whatever strategies you want to have for these large crowds of people, whatever. I think it's being done now, but there's always room for improvement. There's always room for improvement. That's what these monthly or quarterly meetings are going to do for us. It's going to help us understand better how we can help you. I want to know when I come to the meetings, how can I better serve you as the sheriff of the GSO? Even though you're across the ditch, it's still Duval County, we're all in this thing together. And we can do better together by working together.
So let me give you an example of working together to impact the crime numbers at the beach. So the crime numbers that you're talking about are provided by analysts that we work together with the beaches department now. And we share that analyst, and then we're able to analyze the crime data that comes through, so you get a real picture of what crime is like at the beach and who's committing that crime. That's how you're able to have that data now. And I think with that data, as we do with everything at JSO, either side of the ditch, as Ken said, I'm telling you that we drive our resources and drive our responses to crime through something called intelligence-led policing. And in partnering with the beaches agencies and leveraging that intelligence-led policing, that technology that we use again to drive resources, I think that's how we allocate, and that's how we, again, cooperate with people at the beach, with the agencies at the beach. We get information and tips from people at the beach and communicate that back to the agencies at the beach. There is really a heavy day-to-day working relationship with our agencies, and I think, beyond the special events which we absolutely support, and beyond some of the things that occur sporadically during the summer that we, again, absolutely support, I think there's an example after example of us making coordinate with the beaches on a regular routine basis. And we'll continue to do that. Because again, I think it's important. The beaches are really a gem in our community. I mean, this is a great community. One of the great neighborhoods in our Jacksonville is a great collection of neighborhoods, and the beaches is an example of that. And I think, again, we owe it to the beach to continue to be good partners, and we'll continue to do that.
Okay, you get this next question. How would you support the beaches police departments with regard to hurricane evacuation?
Well, as it stands today, we cooperate through our Emergency Operations Center, and we have the city, we have plans for everything at JSO, the city of Jacksonville. And so our plans for really a catastrophic hurricane, we're one that hit us, God forbid, if one were to hit us category 3, 4, or 5, we do something called complex command in Jacksonville, in Duval County. In complex command, we break the city up into 5 areas, and those areas are commanded by people in that area. So the beaches really has its own complex. So they would report back, the beaches complex would report back to the incident command, which would be the operations center downtown in Jacksonville, or wherever it happened to be based on the damage that we were that we were dealing with. So the beaches would be one of the 5 complexes that we coordinated with. We bring resources in to Duval County from a variety of places, be it other state partners, be it the federal government. Those resources then allocated to the complexes appropriately based on the damage and based on the things that we have done. Obviously, damage assessments and all those things are ongoing as well. So we've got a great plan. We've got a great, a great framework to put into play. We train that and exercise that routinely, and the beaches is part of that. So again, not something that you've been left out of, but we really left command of the beach to the beach. So the people at the beach will be the ones representing that community in the EOC in downtown Jacksonville. So again, I'm comfortable with that plan. I think it's a good plan and it's exercised effectively. We'll continue to do that and continue to build upon it and improve it when we can.
Thank you. I'm so glad he broke that down for y'all because I can echo what he's saying. I can just say ditto. I have to agree with him on that. The EOC plan is in place, but we will lend the support that's needed for evacuation, for shelters, things of that nature to assist you because we're all in it together because you're going to go one or two ways with your evacuation. So we'll have to be there with manpower to assist you with that and in the Emergency Operations Center and lend the support that you need to help navigate the beach's residents through that storm and through those terrible times. There comes times when you have to have emergency evacuations or mandatory evacuations. We'll lend the support and the resources to help you with that. We'll help you, no pun intended, weather the storm during those times.
Okay, Mr. Jefferson, how would you feel about sharing the sheriff's RMS and CAD systems with the beaches police departments? And what resources from your department could you commit to facilitate this?
I think it's a great idea to share it. There's only one jail that we bring everybody to. I think the CAD system and everything else that we do should be in unison with all the law enforcement agencies here. I would be willing to allocate whatever resources that was needed to help get that implemented, to get it going. And I think it's a long time coming. I can remember the days when I rode a beat. I rode out in Mayport, Florida. And I was the only car there. This was back when we only had one beat car there. Our backup was Atlantic Beach. And sometimes it would be very difficult. That was well before the computers and the MDC days. So you only had to depend on your radio. Some of the older guys that was back then remember those days. And had we had a uniform system, it would have gotten back up to me a whole lot sooner because I was the only car riding in this particular area. So I would commit whatever resources that need to be allocated to the beaches in the assistance of having that implemented.
So there's a portion of that occurs today already. As Ken mentioned, everybody comes to the Duval County Jail, so we're able to use some of those reports to obviously put people into the jail. The RMS system, the report management system, to combine those would be a great idea. Let me tell you why. So we can house all that data. As Ken mentioned, we don't write paper reports anymore. Everything's done electronically. As we capture that data, we can do great things with that data. We can analyze, again, you mentioned crime analysis numbers early on tonight. Those numbers give you a great idea of what's happening in your community in terms of crime, where the criminals are coming from, where they're going, what types of crime they're committing. That kind of data is important for us to begin to build strategies to combat crime in our community. If we can all get on the same page as far as the data goes, we can connect the dots, so to speak, and be able to do things proactively to prevent crime in the community, which is where we need to be. We do a lot now with collecting data from a lot of different agencies around the state in a lot of homeland security programs that we have now, and that data comes from a lot of different report management systems. It's very difficult to manage that. It takes a lot of time, effort, and dollars to convert that data into something we can use and get something usable out of it. So to have the beaches on the same system that we are in and that we use is a great idea and really be a very effective tool for Northeast Florida and for Duval County. Again, we'd be connecting the dots and we'd be that much more efficient in preventing crime and moving, to impact crime in our community.
Okay, Mr. Williams, identify the specific qualifications, supervisory, managerial, leadership, you believe you possess that make you the best candidate to lead one of the largest law enforcement agencies in Florida as well as the country?
Well, as I mentioned, I began my career with JSO in 1991 as a line level patrol officer, and I think that's extremely important. I think that experience is invaluable moving forward. Beyond that, again, I served at every supervisory level in the agency. So for us, our structure is the sheriff and the undersheriff, and we have 5 directors that run 5 departments inside of JSO. We have 3,000 employees at JSO, 1,600 sworn officers, about 800 corrections officers that run our 3 correctional facilities that we have in the county, and about 600 civilians. Again, that do things we don't have, that we don't need done at badges to do, but we work that we need to have done in our agency, to help our agency run. A very large organization. So as a line level patrol officer, you move to sergeant, then you move to lieutenant, then you move to assistant chief, then you move to chief, then you move to director. The director is one of the 5 department heads. Again, I served at every supervisory rank in the agency, and I think it's very important because I learned something at every level. As a sergeant, I learned how to deal with people, I learned how to manage people at a line level. As a lieutenant, I was a unit commander for several units, and again, learned to think strategically about how that unit fit into the big picture of the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office and what we could do, again, to prevent and impact crime in our community. As an assistant chief and chief, I led divisions of the agency, the Homeland Security Division, the Narcotics Advice Division, working back again in the Patrol Division. I can tell you that as a director, you really are working day to day to impact crime in the community. And again, in my final position with JSO, I was the director of investigations of Homeland Security and led 1,100 police officers every day to fight against crime and managed half of the agency's $400 million budget. I can't state enough how important it is that you learn something at every level, moving up through the ranks. And I think each one of those steps has uniquely prepared me to be the best candidate for sheriff and to be the sheriff that you need to do all can to keep our families safe in our community.
Thank you. Whereas my management experience may differ from Mr. Williams, nonetheless, it's still management experience. Prior to being a police officer, I was a manager for a major insurance company where I managed a budget, I managed people, I managed the day-to-day operations. But since coming on to the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, my experience as a leader within the agency stood out. As the police recruiter, when it was very tough to recruit people at the time when the persons who wanted to go to the police academy had to pay their own way, I came up with a sponsorship program or a scholarship program by collaborating with the faith-based community, the business community, and the key stakeholders. That's leadership. My goal was to get 5 people recruited under those scholarships. Based on what my supervisors was telling me, I found 25 people, and some of them are now ranking officers within the Sheriff's Office. As a federal program manager, I was responsible for cumulatively $1 million budget, as well as the day-to-day operations of that particular program. And it was a national program. We ranked #1 in the United States under my leadership. That's leadership. Thirdly, as the spokesman for the department, the face and the voice of the department, I'm the only person in the state of Florida ever to win Spokesman of the Year for the entire state of Florida for 2 consecutive years, representing the agency, talking about everything there is to know about the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, simply because my background has allowed me to work in just about every area of the Sheriff's Office. And lastly, what distinguishes me from my colleague is I'm the only candidate that has a written plan. I wrote it back in August of last year, addressing violent crime, drug crime, and gang activity. I'm the only candidate that has pledged to reduce violent crime by 25%, almost said 30, by 25% my first year in office, because I know we can do it. I'm the only candidate that can go in any neighborhood in this city, whether it be the most peaceful, whether it be the most crime-ridden, and be recognized, be respected, and they'll listen to me. Thank you.
So now we will go to closing statements, and Mr. Jefferson will start with you, and you have 2 minutes.
Thank you, and thank you, Beaches Watch, for giving us this privilege and opportunity to come before you and have this forum. When we look at the face of crime in Jacksonville, it looks just alike. The person lying on the street in a pool of blood looks just like the one who pulled the trigger. Late teens, early 20s. There's a veil of violence resting on the city of Jacksonville. If you don't believe me, look at the news every day. Just this morning, a report of someone being shot again here in our city. If you're like me, you're tired of it. I intend to attack it at its root cause because the late teens and early 20s is a lost generation. I intend as your sheriff to mentor and at-risk you my entire time in office. But not only me, my senior staff on down, we will mentor and at-risk you. We're going to get kids between the ages of 9 and 12 when they're in their most impressionable stages of life. They're looking for a role model. They're wondering what they want to be in life. They're just trying to figure it out. And we're going to partner with the faith-based community, business leaders, our key stakeholders, and our military. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to be proactive and teach these young people how to respect authority, how to resolve conflict without a final resolution. We're going to teach them values, and we're going to teach them how to set goals. Because if we're proactive with our children now, we won't have to be reactive like we are today. My name is Ken Jefferson. I want to be your sheriff because it's time for us to have a sheriff that's connected with the community, that can relate to the community, and build the trust back up with our citizens. There's a great distrust right now between the police and the citizens in light of all the things that's going on in our city. I intend to be out of the office and coming to a place where you live to find out how I can better serve you as your sheriff. As your sheriff, I'll do my community walks. My time is up. My name is Ken Jefferson. I ask you for your vote on May 19th. Thank you so much for this meeting.
Well, again, thank you all for coming out to tonight and obviously the opportunity to come and speak to you. And great questions. I really appreciate it. And obviously, you guys love the community. And we respect that, obviously. And I enjoy it every time I come out. Let me tell you this. Beyond the theatrics, clearly we have a violence problem in Jacksonville. And I can tell you from my 23 years experience that the violence that we see in Jacksonville is driven by the drug trade. And we have to have a key focus on the drug trade moving forward to get us ahead of the violent crime problem that we see that has been a challenge for us for many, many years. And we will get that done. We have got to continue to build and strengthen relationships in every part of our community every day. There's not a law enforcement agency in the country, again, that can be successful without that. There is no substitute for that. And you have to work on it every day, and we will begin working on it on day one. You know, I tell people all the time, it's great for me as a sheriff to have relationships with all the community leaders around town, and that's going to happen, I promise you. But it's better for you to have a relationship with a policeman that works in your neighborhood, to know who he is, know who his supervisor is, be able to reach out to them and talk to them about the problems in your neighborhood. Not big city Jacksonville issues, but what's happening in your neighborhood. That's the kind of relationship we're going to build at JSO, down at the neighborhood level, building those relationships and helping us connect with the community every day. And lastly, we are going to continue to be lean and efficient at JSO. We have to be able to hit ground running day one. Again, our city and our agency have come through some incredibly tough budget times in the last several years. And we need to be able to hit the ground running on day one in managing our budget. And again, adding layers of transparency so you, the community, know that we are good stewards of your money. Let me tell you this. I spent 23 years with JSO. Every day of that 23 years was spent fighting crime in this community. Boots on the ground. And leading the men and women of JSO in that fight. I know how to keep families safe in Jacksonville, and I promise you as your next sheriff, I'll work for you every day to do that. My name is Mike Williams, and I ask for your vote on May 19th. Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen. Now I'd like to introduce Mayor Alma Brown, who's going to go up to on stage to start the mayor portion of the forum. Okay, Mayor Brown, thank you for coming tonight. And we'd like to start with opening statements, and you will have 2 minutes for your opening statement.
Well, first, let me thank the Beaches Watch for putting this forum on. I thank you for all coming out tonight. This is so important to hear the candidate's vision for the future. I thank you for doing it. I am truly humbled and honored to be the mayor of Jacksonville. You know, when I ran 4 years ago, I made some promises. I promised that I would make sure we make government more effective and efficient. I promised that we would put Jacksonville back to work, focus on jobs. I promised that I would focus on education to make sure that our young people have a great opportunity. I promised that I would focus on making sure that we support our military and making sure that we invest in our veterans. And I'm happy to say the other promise I made, I promised that I wouldn't raise your taxes. So over the last 4 years, I've kept all my promises. Government's more effective and efficient, more streamlined, more customer friendly. I did not raise your taxes in 4 years. We put Jacksonville back to work with 36,000 new jobs. We're ranked #1 in the country if you want to start a business in Jacksonville. We're ranked 2nd if you're looking for a job. I'm very proud of that. And then on education, you know, I appointed the first commission of education in the history of this city for $1 thanks to Jacksonville University. And because of that, we've launched the Mayor's Mentors, the Learn to Earn program, exposing young people to the possibility of going to college by living on a college campus in the summertime, having a summer job, learning and earning. And last, veterans. I created a Department of Military Veterans Affairs, appointed a 2-star admiral, big Gillian acquisition, and really partnered with the military to launch jobs for veterans. My goal is to make sure we eradicate homelessness among veterans. I think once you serve your country with distinction, you should be able to get a job, and take care of your family. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Brown, the first question. Your first question is, if elected, what do you want to accomplish in the next 4 years that would benefit the beaches? And you have 2 minutes.
Well, I think the most important thing is to build on the vision that I laid out 4 years ago. Continue to focus on jobs, putting Jacksonville back to work. When I came into office, the unemployment was over 11%. Today, it's cut in half. We have 36,000 new jobs. So I think the most important thing is making sure that people continue to have a job so they can put food on the table, take care of their families. You know, the economy is doing a whole lot better. Property values are going up. So I think the #1 issue I want to focus on is continue to put Jacksonville back to work, and coupled with making sure that every neighborhood is safe in our city, along with education. I want to continue to invest and focus on prevention and intervention, making sure young people have a place to go after school, supporting the Mayor's Mentors program, where we have 600 caring adults mentoring in our school system right now, which I think is important. And here at Fletcher, I'm happy to say that we launched the education workshop here, helping students fill out their FAFSA. We created waterproof jacks, supporting kids to make sure we do that they aren't in trouble when they swim, which is very important. And then focusing on making sure at the end of the day that the beaches are strong, the relationships are strong, investing in partnership, working with the mayors, the city council, and all the stakeholders. I believe that this is a great place to live, work, and raise a family. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure the beaches stay vibrant. It's a great place to live. It's a treasure of our city, and I'm going to make sure I do that. On Mayport, which is, when you think about it, in the beaches, it has 2 historic distinctions. 1, it's strong on military, and 2, it's the village where you have your fisheries there and you can get the best fresh seafood in America. I want to continue to support that. I want to make sure that we continue to advocate for our military and our veterans with the ships that are coming into Jacksonville. Thank you for that question.
The next question. Beaches Watch gave you 2 opportunities to respond to a questionnaire regarding issues important to Beaches voters, but you never provided any responses. How do you explain this to the Beaches voters who already feel that many of Jacksonville's elected officials only care about receiving Beaches tax dollars, but don't care about the Beaches' concerns?
Well, I do care about the Beaches' concerns, and I will make sure that I believe in communication, and you can never communicate too much. And I will make sure that I will continue to have those meetings, maybe more meetings with our elected officials and our stakeholders at the beaches, and make sure that we're all working together, because it is important.
The next question. question. What, if anything, would you do to improve the communication and relationship between the county government and the beaches?
Well, I think it's important to have a proactive relationship, and you can, like I said, you can never communicate too much. So working with, I think we have an important responsibility to work with all the stakeholders, the interfaith community, the nonprofit community, the civic community, the business community. It's so important, and we've been working with the community in the past. I'll continue to work with the community. We will continue to strengthen the communication and working relationship because it's important.
This is a 30-second follow-up question. Would you commit to meeting on a regular basis with the beaches mayors? And if so, how often? And you have 30 seconds.
Sure, I would be committing to meet with the mayors of the beaches every quarter, which I think is very important. I will commit to once a quarter.
Okay, the next question. Both you and your opponent have said that you aren't going to raise taxes. If that is true, what are your specific plans to fix the city's continuing revenue shortfall?
So I believe that the private sector is the engine of our community. I think the business community is so important. When you really think about it, I came in and I made a promise that I would make government more effective and efficient. And we've done that. But also making sure you empower those small business and entrepreneurs. And I've worked very hard with the business community, the civic community, and a lot of the key stakeholders to create that, foster that economic environment to create jobs and put people back to work. So I oppose all taxes in my first 4 years, and I'll do it in my second term. I think that we have to really make sure that we support our business community so that we create jobs and put people back to work. It's been very successful. 36,000 new jobs. We're the #1 city if you want to start a new business. We're second in the country if you're looking for a job. Jacksonville is doing extremely well. The economy is growing. This is a great place to live, work, and raise a family. And I think it's important to make sure that people know we're open for business and we don't want to tax those small business and entrepreneurs.
The next question is the Jacksonville City Pier and the Beaches Branch Library are both in great need of repair and improvements. Would you place these projects in your budget? And if so, where would you obtain the funds?
Well, you know, I think it's so important that we make the right investment in our city. In my budget that I presented last year, we had an additional $500,000 for our libraries, as you may well know, and we're going to continue to make sure we make that investment. I think it's so important for our neighborhood. So many people depend on it, and I am committed to presenting a budget that will reflect that.
What is your vision for the future of Mayport, and what factors are essential to realizing your vision?
Well, you know, Mayport is a special place. It has a strong military presence and a fishing presence. And I've been a strong proponent on making sure that Mayport and the military grows by making sure we have more ships. I had the pleasure of working with Secretary Ray Mavis of the Navy and a lot of other Department of Defense and our congressional delegation, ensuring that we have more ships coming to Jacksonville, more ship repair to support those small business and entrepreneurs who depend on it. 25% of our population is tied to the military. And the military has a $14 billion economic impact, and that's important. So I've been a big proponent. That's why I set up a department, appointed a 2-star admiral, meeting with the commanders every quarter on the basis. And then I would definitely work with Visit Jacks to continue to market Mayport, to support those who depend on living on the river, to sell Mayport and make it more attractive and continue to make the private sector investment.
Now we'll go to closing statements, and you have 2 minutes.
Well, once again, I want to thank you for inviting me here tonight. I'm truly humbled to be the mayor of Jacksonville. You know, as the mayor, it is my responsibility to make sure we create opportunity for all. For 4 years, I've kept my promise. Jacksonville is headed in the right direction. I've had an opportunity to work with Republicans and Democrats and independents putting Jacksonville first. I've kept my promises. The city is doing very well, 36,000 new jobs. Downtown is humming. We have a great, great, strong economy. Education is improving. I want to continue to build on that foundation and continue to serve for 4 more years to finish the job. And the only way I can do that is if I have your support. I believe that when we all work together, we can take Jacksonville to the next level, to make sure that every kid who deserves a quality education get that education, to make sure that everyone who's willing to work to get a job, to ensure that at the end of the day, you will have a mayor who believes in opportunity for all, no matter what side of town you live on or who you are. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that Jacksonville goes to the next level. I want your vote. I need your support. And finally, on a personal note, I want to thank God for blessing me to be the mayor of Jacksonville. I know I wouldn't be standing here if it wasn't for my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I want to thank God for blessing me. I pray that Jacksonville continue to move forward. With your help, we'll get there. Thank you, and God bless you, and have a wonderful night.
Thank you. Next, we'd like to introduce Mr. Curry, Mr. Lenny Curry.
Good evening.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Mr. Curry, we're going to start with opening statements, and you have 2 minutes.
Sandy, I want to thank you for having me tonight. I want to thank everybody that organized this. And I will tell you that in deciding to run for mayor, I made this decision based on a lot of reasons. But let me just share with you the most personal one. It's just simple. I want to leave Jacksonville better than I found it. I want to be a part of leaving the beaches cities better than we found them. I have 3 kids, Boyd, Brooke, and Bridget, and when they're old enough to decide where they want to live, I want them to pick Jacksonville. Now, Mayor Latham, Mayor Pruitt, I'm here tonight because I understand and I recognize that the cities, the beaches cities, have been underappreciated, undervalued, in many cases, ignored. The cities out here, the beaches, are the crown jewel of Jacksonville, and I'm absolutely committed to making sure that you get a return on your tax dollar, to making sure that the interlocal agreements are honored, the services are returned, and in fact, if we need to review them, because they haven't been reviewed in almost 20 years, I will sit down with you and do that as well. I am committed to the cities out here. I want to be a part of making sure that you thrive and you flourish, and that we operate as one city with one purpose.
Your first question, if elected, what do you want to accomplish in the next 4 years that would benefit the beaches? And you have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Well, look, the elected officials that are out here, see Bill Belcher sitting here, who does a very good job advocating for what goes on in the beach cities. I know Scott Wiley's here, Kara Tucker's here. You know what works best for your cities. And I communicate regularly now with many of the elected officials out here informally, but we need to have a regular, recurring form of communication. As soon as I'm elected, I'm going to sit down with the mayors of the cities, the elected officials, the city managers, and make sure that we understand that you're getting the return on the investment based on your local agreements, and then review them and make sure they're updated. And I'm committed, I said this well before tonight, I'm committed to meeting formally on a quarterly basis. I will also put an employee of the city of Jacksonville that will report to me, that will come out here 1 full day per week to make sure that you're being represented, and you'll have completely formal access to me, my cell phone, my email, and meetings on an as-needed basis. I think you know what works best in your city, and I want to be a part of making you successful and flourish.
Mr. Curry, the Beaches Watch gave you 2 opportunities to respond to a questionnaire regarding issues important to Beaches voters. You did not provide responses prior to the first election, but given the second opportunity, you recently provided responses. How How do you explain this to the Beaches voters who already feel that many of Jacksonville's elected officials only care about receiving Beaches tax dollars but don't care about Beaches concerns?
Thank you. I want to reiterate that I am committed to being, I've been out here all day today talking to voters. I'm going to be out here on Saturday. When I'm elected, I'm going to be out here on a recurring basis to make sure that I'm understanding my needs. We did return the questionnaire this time. I think it's important that you hear from me. I apologize to you that you didn't get a questionnaire from me in the last cycle. I'm here tonight and I'm committed to serving all of your needs.
You've already touched on this question, but because we asked Mayor Brown this question, we're going to ask you the same. What, if anything, would you do to improve the communication and relationship between the county and the Beaches government?
I said in my opening statements, and I mean it, every endeavor of my life, every endeavor of all of our lives is built around relationships, whether it's our businesses, whether it's our families. It's about spending time together. It's about building trust. It's about open lines of communication. And you can't just assume in your business or your personal life that it's just going to happen. You have to work at it. You have to be committed to it. I'm absolutely committed to having an individual that will be out in the cities one full day every week. And if it needs to be more, we'll have that conversation. I will be out here quarterly. I'm going to host town hall meetings all around the city. All 3 Beaches cities are going to be a big part of that as well.
Both you and your opponent have said that you aren't going to raise taxes. If that is true, what are your specific plans to fix the city's continuing revenue shortfall?
Well, let me say this. The facts are taxes went up on Mayor Alvin Brown's watch. Now, why did they go up? They went up because he gave folks like Councilman Gulliford a budget that had more spending than more revenue. It was a budget that lacked priorities, and it was a budget that wasn't serious. I will present a budget that's clear on priorities, a budget that balances, a budget that I am responsible for. And I will be serious about job creation, serious about creating an environment so that we're not going to the taxpayer, which has happened so often in the city, every 2 or 3 years saying the sky is falling and there needs to be more tax dollars. Look, I'm a business person and an accountant by trade. I know what a regulatory environment looks like. I know what it means to have an environment in government that if you can turn and make things happen quickly, our economy will thrive, we'll put more people on the tax base, we'll grow our revenue through job growth and economic creation. Right now, Jacksonville is lagging the rest of the state in job creation, and that's hurting our economy.
The Jacksonville City Pier and the Beaches Branch Library are both in great need of repair and improvements. Would you place these projects in your budget? And if so, where would you obtain the funds?
The library system, all the libraries in Jacksonville, particularly the library out here, is incredibly important. Not only is it a place to read, a place for families to spend time, it's an institution where people congregate. It's where some folks get access to the web that don't necessarily have it. The pier is also important. But look, we have to start with budget priorities. Over the last 4 years, we have budgets that don't balance. We have recently, members of council have discovered tens of millions of dollars in unaccounted for money in the city budget. First thing I'm going to do when I'm elected is do a 90-day drill down audit. I will be able to share with each of you out here in each of cities exactly the financial condition of this city, get our financial house in order, grow our economy so we have the resources to invest in these things that are so important for our quality of life.
What is your vision for the future of Mayport, and what factors are essential for realizing your vision?
I think Mayport's incredibly important. Historically, it's important for tourism. I know it's important to people in Jacksonville and the citizens and the people of Jacksonville. Councilman Gulliford's got some great ideas that I'll work with him on to make sure that we have the resources to do the things that, again, those of you out here know what needs to be done. I want to be a part of facilitating that. I am committed to, though, any time we're going to invest tax dollars in any project or any service, that there's a scorecard that we can clearly measure and share back with you, the taxpayer, the exact return on investment.
And now you can go to closing statements, and you have 2 minutes.
Well, it's a real honor to be out here tonight. I want to be your next mayor because I want to leave Jacksonville better than I found it. I want to work with you in a common purpose to make sure that the cities out here flourish, and that we are united as one city and one people. I want all of us to recognize that the decisions that we make today, the decisions that I'll make when I am mayor, will not only solve the problems of the day, and that's important because we've got some real structural problems, from pension, violence, and crime, cops, policemen and women that have been cut under Mayor Alvin Brown's budget. We have serious issues. But the decisions we make today will give us the Jacksonville that will transcend any mayoral administration or any council administration. I'm committed to making the decisions that will give us the Jacksonville that we deserve and that we want in the years ahead, well beyond long term. I'm here tonight because I love Jacksonville. I want to be your mayor. I want to have a great relationship with the cities of the beach. I'm committed to that. I'll own that. I will take responsibility for that. I'm asking for your vote tonight. I'm asking you to trust me with your vote and trust me with the next 3 years. Thank you for having me.
So we want to thank, Beaches Watch would like to thank all the candidates for being here tonight, and would also like to acknowledge Principal Don Nelson and Fletcher High School for allowing us to have our forum here tonight in the auditorium. We also want to thank our volunteers who organized tonight's forum, the Beaches Watch volunteers, and we appreciate all their hard work on organizing this event. And want to remind you that this forum has been recorded, video recorded, and it will be on our Beaches Watch YouTube channel and also on our Beaches Watch website. And want to let you know too that we will be doing another forum on Thursday, April 30th at 7 o'clock, and this one is going to be at the Jacks Beach Elementary School cafeteria. And that will be a forum for the at-large candidates. So there's 3 groups of at-large candidates that we as Beaches voters are going to be voting on. So we hope you'll mark your calendars and plan to come to that forum. Again, that's April 30th. It's a Thursday at 7 o'clock at the Jacks Beach Elementary School cafeteria. And then want to remind you that early voting is May 4th through the 17th, and then elections are May 19th. So I want to thank you all for coming tonight, and I hope you have, want to remind you that the candidates will be, they have tables out in the hallway out there with candidate literature, and they will be staying around to answer any individual questions that you may have, and you can pick up their literature as well. Thank you for coming tonight.